All right, episode 3, Storia Stories. Welcome back, everyone. We are joined today by James, of course, but also a special guest for episode 3 so soon. So we've got Eamon McKiernan. He is the Director of Mintyy, which is a web studio business based in Australia. Welcome, Eamon. Did you want to give us an introduction?
Thank you. Yeah, ahoy. My name is Eamon and I run Mintyy. We're a creative web studio based in Perth, but we service businesses all over Australia. Essentially, we do websites. So whether that be the discovery and design side of websites, but we also build the websites and ship them as well. So pretty much the full scale.
Nice, love it. So today, we are going to talk about something that is in every single corner of the world. Instagram, social, especially like advertising, it's literally everywhere. So let's talk about it. AI, and more specifically, AI integration into business systems. So I'm going to hand straight over to you guys. James, let's start with yourself. So my first question is, what does the rise of AI mean for business owners?
Okay. All right. So there's a huge range of how businesses are incorporating AI and like the luster and the shininess around that, and then there's also the kind of the opposing side to that, which is far riskier and darker. But overall, and I will come from it in my opinion, because there's a lot of opinions out there about what AI means for businesses. From my opinion, it is a really important and powerful tool for businesses to be optimizing, for them to be preparing for the future, for them to be taking a look at the things that they lack at the moment and going, where can we evolve and where can we change? It's creating opportunity. It is creating this whole new space that a lot of businesses can enter into that they didn't before. And a lot of us have heard the term like adapt or die, or if you're not using AI, your competitors will be. That is true. It's something that a lot of businesses should be taking on and utilizing and helping to pave the way forward. There's a right way to utilize AI when it comes not only just from an operational standpoint, but also from even legal perspectives. Like for some industries, there's a legal requirement around it. So there's a whole bunch of ways that businesses can be using it, and it's a really great opportunity. And I for every business we work with, I say you should be at least working out a path to incorporate AI. I know it's something, Eamon, that we were discussing before. So do you have an opinion on the matter?
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree that AI is in definition a tool that you should be using today and in the future to kind of make your processes faster at your business. As you say, it's day or die, do or die. If you're not integrating it in some capacity into your business, you're going to fall behind. We were talking earlier off camera about how AI, people say AI is going to replace people, but we made an important distinction that AI is not going to replace people. Other people that use AI are going to replace you if you don't use AI in some capacity. It's just another powerful tool that has come along that is replacing the other powerful tools that have come in the past that are just going to keep coming. And I'm sure there's going to be something after AI that everyone's going to complain about again and be like, oh, it's just destroying the industry. There's new technologies always coming through. So yes, that's my opinion on AI.
They made a movie about that, didn't they? Terminator, is that what comes next? Anyway.
Skynet is coming, guys. It's happening. Whether we like it or not, just accept your new technological overlords.
All right,
I'm going to repeat my off-camera joke I said. I always say please and thank you whenever I talk to AI.
I know you're certainly not alone with that. So we can probably all agree then that the general premise from our perspective is adapt or die. It's a bit of the old Blockbuster videos example, right? They held on because they didn't think streaming would become a thing, and now there's no such thing as Blockbuster. So if we agree with that at sort of the high level, and a business owner goes, okay, I need to implement it, where and how do they start? Like, where are they implementing AI into their business.
Okay. I mean, Eamon, do you want to start? Like how you've started to incorporate it into yours?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll speak from personal experience before I start talking about what other people should do. Maybe I'll look back a little bit and talk about a little bit about what my first exposure to AI was like. I remember years back, especially I had a roommate who was an engineer, so I was naturally kind of, both of us were bouncing what we were doing at the time off each other. He was really getting into um, the image generation tool that was popular at the time. I'm forgetting what it's called. Do you guys remember what it's called? A Midjourney. That's it. So he was using Midjourney, and you know, all the Will Smith spaghetti memes were going around that video production, the level it was at the time. But really what I was using it for at the time was getting a little bit into copywriting, things like social media posts, using it to generate copy for that, on the website as well. At this stage, in my own business, I wasn't really using it in too many different other things, especially not in the website process as well, beyond just copywriting. I definitely didn't have the trust at that time. That has slowly extended over time to the point where now I'm every single day adapting how I use AI in my process. Just the other day, I've made the switch from using Google Chrome as a browser, and I've been exploring Arc and Dia, which are based on Chromium, so they use the Chrome backend, I guess. But they integrate AI basically directly into the browser. That's just one of the ways that I've been using AI. If we're talking more specifically about websites, I use an IDE called PHP Storm for developing websites, and that's just the one that I've been familiar with for a long time. I know there's also Cursor and Codex that are out there as well, but PHP Storm has the same AI capabilities and tools within it. So I've been using that as my IDE for quite some time now. And specifically the way that I've been using AI to build my websites is it can essentially do the really logical mathematical things that I don't have the time to kind of map out myself, or just engineer a prompt to do a specific task, and I'll put it into my IDE. It has access to my repository and all of my working files, and off it goes. So it basically saves me a lot of time when if I need to build something that's very logical, doesn't really require too much of a creative element to it. It takes that time down significantly for me. So what about yourself, James?
Well, I can excuse me. I take a look at it from the perspective of our clients, and so like if we look at us, so how we incorporated AI, I was really early on in the piece with prompting. So the really early versions of like ChatGPT and OpenAI, I was a very early contributor. Like just a little, like in my own little way, when it was totally open source, I put in my couple of commits for it, and I was very proud of that. I'm pretty sure it's not being used anymore, but still. But yeah, so I had really heavy exposure to it from very early on, and when it was, you could say, in its infancy. And now that it's come and progressed so much, the way that we look at it is, okay, where can it optimize? How can it optimize my business? What are the things that we do repeatedly that we can provide to AI? And there's a whole bunch of services available for it, and whatever, like when it comes to communicating, like if anyone who knows me know I'm a terrible communicator. Like I struggle with just replying back to messages just because I'm always doing something. So I have a service that helps me with that. Like that just helps create a response and that kind of thing too. So it helps to optimize that part that I'm not very successful at. So that's 100% like what I say to our clients is, you pick the thing that you suck at, that you have no choice but to do. Start small. What's one tiny thing that you constantly do that has a repeated process all the time? And you go, okay, tackle that first in an AI scenario. So how can we automate that? How can we take that part away from your business requirements and your business activities and make a computer do that, right? So you start small, and then you can build up and make bigger. Obviously, we develop systems that have AI incorporated into them. Like we've just started a new project for a business coach, like who's looking at incorporating AI into their services, to help them interact with their clients in a much cleaner way. So there's heaps of ways that you can look at, but for every business, and it's the same thing with it when it comes to software development or even perhaps web development. Just start small. Start with one small goal. Tack that first, find value in it, and you go, once you're like, oh man, this actually has some real benefits, then go to the next thing and go build a little bit bigger from there, and then you build a little bit bigger from there. That's how we approach it with our clients. We start off with the tiny thing, and you build up, and then eventually you're building giant systems out of this stuff, and it grows like wildfire from there.
Just to build on top of that, yeah, I 100% agree. Just start small before you jump to the end of the line and install something like OpenClaw directly onto your computer. Start thinking about maybe creating your first ChatGPT account and be like, help me. You do some social copy. Help me brainstorm maybe some new target audiences for my business that I haven't even thought of yet. It allows you to take the skills you may have got, over the past 20 years with Google and search prompting, and just shift that mindset to being a bit more like, I don't think of AI when I prompt AI, I don't think of it like how I would prompt Google, but I also don't think of it in a way that I would talk to a human being. It's kind of in the middle, if that makes sense. Yeah. Where you need to give it context. And I think that's the most, looking back a little bit, the most important part is learning how to interact and get the value out of an AI agent as well. Is that middle ground?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's I always think back to a quote from this movie called Margin Call, which was released, I think, 2011. Great film, but it's got Jeremy Irons plays a character who's like the CEO of a business, and he's talking to his team, and he says, I want you to explain it to me, but talk to me as if I were a small child or a golden retriever. And I'm like, okay, that's how I'm talking to the AI. I'm talking to it as if it's a small child or if it's a golden retriever. Like, just keep it simple, provide it with as much detail as you can give it, and then it will slowly work itself out over the period of your conversation. So that's the way that I've always thought of it when it comes to prompt engineering, is you just treat it like a child.
Going back to the please and thank you thing joke from earlier, James, do you think that you do the opposite? In fact, do you find you end up insulting your AI more than to get the best response?
There's definitely been peaks of frustration where I've had a long conversation. Prompting has a limit. There's a certain amount of characters that your chat will remember. And after a while, if you have an especially long conversation with it, so this typically happens when I'm doing any kind of social media management whatsoever, because I struggle to make a decision on what I actually want to talk about. So we'll go through and have this really long conversation. I'll get just about to the point that I think I'm satisfied, and it'll give me something that's entirely wrong. And I go, what the heck? What's going on? And I realize, oh, I've hit the character limit. It's forgotten like the last 2,000 characters. Great. Now I'm going to have to basically start again. And it's at that point I go, you fool. I use far more sensible words here, but I can't say what I would normally say on camera. But lest it be known, I am perturbed.
So you'll be one of the first to go?
Yeah.
I've certainly had those examples of when I've been trying to get AI to do something, and then it's given me something as a response, and I've essentially just said, "You've completely ignored what I asked you to do," and you've gone back 20 conversations as well to last month when I asked you for ingredients for a sandwich, and I'm asking. Yeah, I mean, for the both of you, do you find that you use AI in your personal lives as well? Or do you find you keep it mainly to business?
Jordan, what do you? I'm actually curious, Jordan. What do you do?
Look, I'm careful because I think AI is a very good tool. But I am also a firm believer that if you don't use it, you lose it. And for that, I'm referring to your brain. And so I am very careful about over relying, and I need to constantly check myself. So I am certainly not opposed to it, but I wouldn't say I'm a avid user like some people would be. And my reason for that is I am concerned about losing all control and just going, what do I do? Like, and if it gets to the point in like 10 years, like, just tell me what to do today, because I literally don't have the capacity to think. So, yeah.
Do you think you're going to get to the point where like you're 80 years old and you've completely lost full usage of your body and you just have to wear nappies because everything's coming out every day?
I think probably
So
well
no
before
control.
that, something like Elon's Neuralink will be well and truly in all of us, and I probably won't have to worry. So
True.
but no, I think this is probably a good. Sorry, actually, James, do you want to answer that one as well before I roll into the next bit?
I subscribe to the exact same thing. Like, I will utilize, if I'm learning a new skill and I don't know where to start, I'll go to AI and I'm like, okay, where do I need to go? So just recently I started back into game development with my son. We're building a game together, and that's a lot of fun. We're actually going to record videos of all that. But I haven't built a game in over 10 years since I was at uni. So it's probably closer to 12, 13 years ago that I built a video game. And okay, I have no idea. I'm just going to start over. So I went to ChatGPT and said, tell me where I need to start. It gave me some videos and all that, followed it around, gave me some code to start off with. I went, cool, I'm going to figure it out from here. But I really subscribe to the whole use it or lose it. So you have to use those skills. And the same thing with development. Like, you should absolutely use AI as a way to optimize your building structure when you're building code, or when you're creating systems or website. Absolutely let it help you optimize. But the root, the cause, the actual functional stuff should come from you, come from us as developers. You do not want to end up losing those skills, because one day I suspect they're going to be very valuable, especially if they ever rise up against us. We need coders to get us out, So, yes, I very much, I don't use it as much. It's primarily for a business use. I don't particularly use it in my personal life.
Nice. I want to jump back to, you were talking about memory and about how, it forgets what you were talking about. And I want to use that to sort of feed into, because that's where we're talking more about ChatGPT and those sort of, cloud-based LLMs that are out there for more of a private use. But when we're talking about integrating it into businesses, can we sort of connect those dots about memory, and then maybe extrapolate from there onto data security and privacy, and how that sort of memory and privacy and security all works when it comes to AI integration in the business?
Okay. And it's all right. I'm going to start off here because security is a big thing for us. First and foremost, whenever I say anyone utilizes an AI service, without fail, you should be paying for it. Don't use the free one. You should have a paid account. They're not that expensive. I think like ChatGPT is, I don't know, $30 a month. Claude is around. Actually, I think Claude might be a little bit cheaper. But they're all within an affordable range, especially if it's something you're going to be utilizing quite a lot. If you have a business, buy a business account. You do not want the confidential data that you are more than likely going to feed into it just because it's going to help your business. You don't want that feeding back into the wider model, right? So like when I use ChatGPT, because that's our business one, at the very bottom, underneath the text box where you type in your prompt, it says my business's information will not be used for training, right? So that means that it is only referring to our data within that conversation, not pushing it back to the wider model. So 100%, I feel secure in knowing that. I trust them. I trust them that they're not feeding my data somewhere else. But you said a lot, and this comes back a little bit to the personal side of it. Lately there's been a bit of a trend where people like create a picture of me about what you know of me, and they've been putting the pictures up on Facebook, and it's generating the caricatures. Terrible idea. Like, absolutely terrible idea, especially the ones who are feeding it information to create the image. Like, that is really bad, because if you're just asking your service to say, hey, what do you know about me, and turn that into an image, and it's creating something that's really real, you're like, okay, you know a lot. You know a lot about me, and that can be utilized against you, really. So, from a security perspective, pay for an account, make sure it's locked down so that you're not feeding back the wider model, and just be careful what you put into it, right? And with any AI service, make sure you're very careful that you're not putting really highly confidential. Like, don't put your bank details in. Don't don't give it passwords. Don't give it that kind of stuff. Be intelligent about what you're using it for. Absolutely. All right. Eamon?
So how does a business owner, I guess, like if they're thinking about integrating it into their business, how do they control what information what it gets integrated into, and what information it has access to?
I think Eamon's got to
jump in there with my interpretation of it.
Go for it. Yep.
If you're wanting to keep your privacy and security at a high level, I would recommend doing something similar to what I've done, which is I've always used the Google Workspace suite. That's what well, first of all, what I was using when I was an employee back in the day, and continue to do with Mintyy. And the good thing with Google Workspace is Gemini kind of sits within that suite quite nicely, and it kind of stays contained in a way. It's a paid plan, as James was recommending earlier, so it's private. It stays within in my case, Mintyy ecosystem. It allows you to use documents, spreadsheets, whatever it may be, and keep it within that bubble as well, so it's not going outside. I try and generally to keep everything within Gemini as well. I don't. First of all, you're saving money by not using different AI agents as well, but also from a privacy perspective, it's keeping it within that area as well. And so far, that has been working quite well for me. Just touching on the privacy side as well, because we all understand that if you're paying for it, like Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, they all say, of course, from a legal perspective, they have to keep this information private. And I'm curious what you guys think about this. They are still storing this data, right? It may be encrypted, it's secure, it's legally locked down, but what would be stopping someone like Google, or if OpenAI goes under, what is stopping them from releasing all this data, facing maybe a 10, 20, $30 million lawsuit, but maybe making $200 million to billions of dollars in money for that information? What are your thoughts on that?
There is absolutely nothing stopping them from doing that. Nothing at all. They could turn around tomorrow and say, we're changing our policy to we will no longer be keeping tenanted information locked and private. So when I say tenanted, it means that it is in your account. We will no longer be keeping it private, and we're going to be releasing it to the wider model and marketing it off. So then, I mean, Australian privacy laws help us protect us in certain ways, but they're not infallible. So really, yeah, there's nothing. There really is nothing stopping a company like Google or OpenAI or Amazon or any of them, Anthropic, from releasing that information to people who want to buy it. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Can I introduce the idea of non-cloud based and this sort of closed, localized systems where you're still using the LLM model, but it's in a closed system. You have your own sort of MCP server. You have something like Olama or something like that running. Can we talk about that from a privacy point of view, and how that's different to just prompting ChatGPT on chatgpt.com?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Eamon, you raised the question earlier about utilizing, like, putting OpenClaw on like a Mac Mini or something like that. What brought that up for you? Actually, what brought that up for you?
Well, it went viral recently. The idea of essentially buying a Mac Mini, installing the necessary tools, Brew, Node, etc., on that device, and then installing OpenClaw and running your own virtual AI agent basically on your countertop and getting it to do things for you. It went viral, and in fact, I believe there's a minor Mac Mini shortage in California at the moment because of that exact reason. And yeah, it's an interesting idea. I probably wouldn't have the technical expertise to set up my own VPS and run something in the cloud to do it. So I was thinking, well, maybe buying something small like a Mac Mini might be worthwhile. And I've been thinking about it the past few days, if this is something that I want to explore myself. The idea of, getting that Mac Mini, installing OpenClaw, and setting it up as somewhat of a not an employee per se, but essentially a tool agent that can do tasks for me. And I've been exploring the idea of what that might look like. Maybe getting them designing stuff for me, maybe getting them to be on all the time and thinking about new revenue opportunities, new ideas, products that I could potentially launch. Do I want to get it involved in my actual processes? What does that look like from a security point of view? Like if I was giving this AI agent direct access to my repositories, what's stopping them from deploying malicious code? I'm definitely not ready for allowing an AI agent with full control access to any of my repositories. If I was going to do something like this, I probably would have to have separate, if from a repository point of view, have a separate workspace, I guess, so completely separate repositories that they have access to, or have delegate access so they can only access very specific things. Because, it's a massive security risk at the moment. Is this something that you guys have explored yourselves?
It's something I tried to do it a couple of years ago. Attempted to create my own, effectively my own language model that I was going to have set up locally, like here, like just on a PC sitting next to me. But there is a huge infrastructure and technical cost to it. Like, it is very complicated to set up. It's very complicated to set up right. And then if you're wanting it to integrate with services that you've got, so for instance, like we wanted to review code and provide suggestions, we'd have to get it integrated with GitHub, and that requires us developing the integration itself. So I would say if you have the technical skill and the patience and the time, then it is definitely an awesome experiment to try.
Emphasis on experiment.
Yes, it is an experiment. Like, I would not be... All AI is an experiment at this point of time. It really is, because it is not perfect. Like, whatever you use it for, you're experimenting with whatever you're putting into it. It is not infallible. Like,
nobody understands the cloud.
No one gets it. No one knows how it works. It's just like pattern recognition. What does that mean? So it, you can't, like, if you're saying I want to create my own version of ChatGPT right here in my office, you're going to be hard pressed to get that right from the get-go. A lot of work and a lot of time tinkering, you could eventually get there. But if you have the time, the skills, and the money to invest in it, then by all means, definitely give it a go, because having your own personal AI service could be really helpful from a security perspective, because you have control over what it does. All the other services, the ones you pay for, they're a black box. You're relying on the guys at the other end to know what they're doing, and to be honest. You're relying on them to be honest, and it's not always the case, and we've just got to accept that, as part of society, that the stuff that we put in can be exposed. So yes, I would say if you have the ability to set up that kind of infrastructure, do it. If you don't, you can try and learn, but it is going to take a considerable amount of time.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you there in the sense that this is the kind of thing that's probably quite unique to people who have experience in technology in general. I think every company seems to be on the bandwagon of trying to introduce AI in some way into their technology product they offer, right?
Yeah.
If you're listening to this and you're thinking, God, I don't know anything about this, and how there's no way I can do any of this or implement it into my business. If you do look at the products that you use online, you'll probably find that 90% of them offer AI in some capacity, whether it be perhaps you're a bookkeeper and you're very heavily entrenched in Xero or MyOb or whatever it may be. I use Xero for my accounting side, and I saw they recently, well, 3 to 6 months ago, released auto reconciliation, where AI automatically looks at your bills and the bank transfers coming through and smartly reconciles everything for you. So you'll find, like AI probably is already helping your business, and you may not even be aware of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the first step when it comes to integrating AI. It is, what do you have that already utilizes it? And you'll be surprised. Like, it was only, I remember when the AI service around our project management system was introduced. And I was looking at that to begin with, and it was really terrible. Like, it wasn't great. But they've improved it so much now, and it does so much that I'm like, I could cut off this service and this service and this service and just pay a little bit extra on my project management system, and it's going to do a whole bunch of stuff for me. So that's something where I'm considering. But yeah, it's taking a look at what you already do, because you'll find that the systems that you already have, they may overlap in some ways, and you can find better synergies or costs that you can reduce, and maybe you pay a little bit extra, and you can do so much more. There is a whole bunch of possibilities with it.
Nice. So to circle back and maybe summarize a bit, when it comes to privacy and security, we are relying on these companies like your OpenAI. It is a black box, but nonetheless, their T's and C's and everything like that. We're trusting of it, and they're not disclosing sensitive information. It's not accessible to anyone outside your account. But also, I just want to touch on. So we mentioned that where to start. Like, if you know nothing about AI or you've never used it, like, you can literally just start with asking ChatGPT some questions and you'll get it. But James, this is probably more relevant to Storia. Like, in terms of integrating into a business, and also this touches on the data and the privacy. So when it comes to integration, we're maybe not using it with really sensitive stuff, and this is also a security thing, because do we need to have people like Storia that have experience in software development and AI integration, and get them to do the task? And where are we integrated into? Like, can we have an example? Maybe we were just talking about Xero, and maybe this is a cheeky plug for the invoicing AI that you already have, that Storia has.
Sure.
So, because I think, like, I'm listening to what you guys are saying, and I have an awareness in a lot of it. But for a business owner who knows nothing other than they've just asked ChatGPT a few questions, What does it mean to integrate AI? How does that happen? How does it work? Who do they go to?
Right. Well, so expanding on what we were talking about before and what Eamon said, there are services that already have it, right? So look there first, right? So Zero's AI service is called Jax, and it's not wonderful. It's not super good, but it's very new. It is very new, and they're building onto it, and it's a lot better than when it first started. And they've added in a lot more functionality since then. So it is very cool. So start with the services that you use. So if you go, I have a Microsoft account, like I have Office 365, which most of us would do. Go talk to Copilot. You have AI ready and available there for you, and Copilot naturally integrates with all your documentation if you save it in OneDrive or SharePoint. The Google Workplace has Gemini. So Gemini, exactly the same thing. It integrates with Google Drive. You can actually ask it questions about the documentation in your Google Drive. That's the place to start. Start small. Just get information about what you're already using. Start there. Then look at expanding. You do not need someone like me to get you started. 100%. Eamon didn't need someone like me. I know, Eamon, you have experience with technology, but you didn't need a AI specialist to come in and help you set up the things that you're doing. You just went and started doing it and started experimenting. Again, that word experimenting. It's all an experiment. So you don't need someone like us. It's when you start to go, okay, to the places where you can't find a solution, right? So, and again, Eamon, I'm sure you'll agree with me and probably expand on this in a moment. From a development perspective, so if you're going, hey, I've got a service that I'm wanting to expand on. I've got a service that doesn't have AI, but I want to incorporate AI into it. How can I do that? So that is where you start to need someone like me. That's where you're going, okay.
Perhaps I can build on that and give an example.
Sure.
Something like Xero, right? Or any product really. We're seeing AI being integrated slowly, more and more into these products, and we have access to these tools, but there's always going to be gaps in what it can do. And in historically, what we've seen in the past, using Xero as an example still, is there's often plugins that you can install that will extend functionality.
Yes.
I just want to use your product as an example here with Storia's invoice follow-up product that you guys have. Xero doesn't really offer the functionality of being able to chase up overdue invoices. And that's where, because that functionality doesn't exist natively through the app, that's when you probably would approach someone like Storia. Maybe not to be, we're not building something custom here, but there are products readily available that you can purchase for a lower price that will give you the ability to do that little thing, which is essentially solving a pain point that you have, which is people not paying your invoices on time. So that's one example of essentially being able to extend it, and that's a product that's been developed. If we're talking, there's so many big companies, especially in WA, maybe in the mining industry, that they have these really bespoke niche little problems that they have, and that these things usually 99% of the time will not be solved by, first of all, a big company product like Google, nor solved by a plugin product that's been offered by maybe a smaller company like yourselves. That's when, if you have the money for it, you would go to someone to build something custom, because unfortunately the problem with building custom is it takes a long time. And as James can elaborate on, takes a lot more money to build.
Yeah, that's right. And it's an investment, right? It's an investment of the future of your business, and that's the way you got to come at it. You got to be willing to go, I have this problem. It's costing me this much to just deal with it the way we're dealing with it, but I could talk to someone like us, like Storia, and go, I could invest this much, and this problem could go away. It could, and you go, okay, in 2 years' time, this system is paid for itself, and now I've got the system for forever from there. So like it's go. I'm expecting to get a 10-year life cycle out of this system, in its current form. Maybe during that time we'll have to do some updates, and then after 10 years, it's going to require a full revamp to keep modern. But within that 10-year period, it has paid for itself 5 times over, right? So that's the idea. And you've got to look at it long term, not just short term. So you go, okay, I'm going to be investing $40,000 into this solution. This problem costs me $30,000 a year. Cool. By the end of next year, it has paid for itself, and now I have that problem solved forever, effectively.
We started with the what and the how, and I think you just covered off on the why. And why should you do it? Ultimately, it's efficiency and cost saving in the long run, right? Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I would say so. Absolutely. It is, again, AI is a tool and it is an experiment, but you can put investment in there and you can get some amazing returns if you do it right.
Quick side note, I'm a giant water bottle and a giant mug. I'm interested to see what's next.
Well, much like AI, I think Sam Altman said something recently about how much energy and resources it takes to grow, for lack of a better word, a human, and how AI is. But yeah, like AI, I take a lot of hydration to run throughout the day, so I like to stay hydrated.
If
What a
they were
segue that was. That was
if
fantastic.
they were little Easter eggs that you were just trying to like leave in there, I apologize for highlighting them. I just couldn't help it. But make a note
My
of
mug
it.
says, you probably can't. Oh, hang on, it is on both sides. It says best farter ever. I meant
Love
father.
it.
So
nice.
yeah, that was a Father's Day gift for my son last year.
But all right, Eamon, I reckon you can kick us off with this next one. I think we dug in pretty heavily there with the what, the how, the why. Pros, cons, and myth. I want one of each from both of you when it comes to AI. What one pro, one con, one myth.
I want Eamon. I want you to start because I'm very curious because I know mine. Because it's part of my sales spiel, but I am very curious as to what yours are.
And I reckon let's make this a speed round as well because we're all interested in the last topic we want to cover.
All right.
And we want to get to that
Sounds
one.
good.
So speed round of pros, cons, and myth.
Okay, so from my perspective, the terminology, well, there's two things. One, high octane efficiency is one of them. You are able to essentially speed run and upgrade the efficiency of whatever it is you may be doing quite a bit. And the other thing was surrounding, what was it? Being able to complete mundane tasks without requiring your own time investment as well. I think that's actually the second one is probably a bigger pro from my perspective. Being able to basically save all that time that you may be investing in a mundane task and be able to outsource that to AI, so you can free your time up for more meaningful and important things.
Cool.
One con.
One con. Definitely, I think. Well, we've touched quite a bit on security. That's for sure. We've also touched on how AI, and we're seeing this. It's quite prevalent in the education system, especially in certain countries in the world that are quite proud, for lack of a better word, with their education system. But it's prevalent all the way around the world. AI is being used more and more by students, and it's essentially requiring them to use less of their brain power, and it just naturally happens because the students want to stay ahead of their competitors, right? Not competitors, peers is the better word for it. They want to stay ahead of their peers and achieve better grades. So they feel like they have to use AI, and I don't think the education system is quite caught up yet with the new age of AI that we have. So to answer your question, what is the con? It's to do with the lack of currently the lack of critical thinking and usage of our brain. And we've gone from using it, before AI was a thing, to over reliance now on AI.
And what about your myth? Have you got a myth for us?
I was brainstorming this earlier. I think, and this can tie back to previously what we've spoken about as well, about so you can't essentially just go to AI and say, build me a website, design me a website, build me a website, right? Yes, it can do exactly what you tell it to do, but if you're someone who doesn't know what they're doing, you're not going to be able to have the skill set and knowledge to be able to properly engineer, prompt an AI to do to design and build the product that you essentially are wanting to do. And that's where you're finding web design freelancers, studios, agencies, big companies, whatever it may be. These are the businesses that are set up in a way to be able to help you to complete that vision that you have for your website, that you just currently do not have the experience and understanding to be able to do yourself. Like we are integrating AI tools into our processes as well, but we have the experience to be able to understand the bits that AI won't. To properly prompt AI to do things for you, oftentimes you have to give them constraints. You have to give them, don't do this, and you don't know what you don't know, right? So that's why that's a myth, in my opinion, that you can just go to AI and say build a website. Yeah.
Nice. Also, slightly touching on what we're going to talk about soon.
Yeah.
So, but James, let's go one pro.
Okay. Pro, AI levels the playing field. Once upon a time, you had to grow in order to do more. That's not exactly true anymore. You can implement systems, you can implement bots and AI services that helps to take away the things that you have to spend a lot of time on, like administration, like bookkeeping, and that. You can get bots to help you do that. It may not do it perfectly. Again, you're not replacing people, but the stuff that used to keep us from the difference from being a small business to a large business, it's now starting to mediate out, right? So that's my pro. My con, it is really easy to implement AI badly. Very, very easily. That's why we always say start small. Start with something small so that you get a feel for it. You can, and there are industries where there's governance around AI. Like, you actually have to look at how you're implementing it from a reporting, from a government perspective, from a legal perspective. You can't just throw it in there and expect it to work. You have to understand what you're doing, understand the goal, and prepare the steps that you need to take to get there. AI is a part of that journey. It is not the journey. And my myth kind of leads on from that. If I add AI, my business becomes innovative. Not true. AI does not work equal in innovation. Does not. You need to make sure that you're again integrating AI correctly. But if you're wanting to be innovative, you need to be looking at the big tasks that you have in your business, the ones that can be automated, and then like automating them with AI services. That's being innovative. Implementing AI correctly is innovation. Just implementing AI for the sake of implementing AI is not adding anything to your business. It might be helping, but it is certainly not making you innovative.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
well said. All right, the final one before we wrap things up. and like I said, Eamon, you pretty much touched on it with your myth, but vibe coding. What are our thoughts on vibe coding? I'm just going to leave
Eamon,
it that open and just
you
go
start
for
us
it.
off, Eamon.
Maybe we can touch on the point that we were talking about before we started recording, about what is our definition of vibe coding, right? And I brought up that my definition may not be necessarily what it actually is. My definition is essentially vibe coding can be done by someone who knows nothing about what they're doing, but can also be done by professionals such as myself to essentially vibe, prompt what we want done, which could, for my case, would be building a website. And we said maybe that there's a better term for someone like myself who is experienced in this area. I think it was prompt engineer, wasn't it? Was the prompt engineering is the process when someone who, you know, in the from the perspective of building a website, you you know what you're doing and you're able to essentially prompt engineer something, but you're able to also test and know what's going wrong and or what's going right as well at the same time. You're ticking all of the boxes when it comes to a website, whether it be performance or content or accessibility or SEO, or now AEO is the new thing. You know, there's lots of boxes that you need to tick, and as mentioned before, AI oftentimes won't know what it does know, but you haven't asked it to do when you prompt to build a website if you don't know what you're doing. But yeah, vibe coding is probably more specific to someone who has no idea what they're doing, and they just has gone into an AI agent and said, build me a website.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. Yes. AI. Okay. So my definition for, I'll just give it out straight for vibe coding. It is asking an AI service to build you something. You think it's correct and you just push it. Like you push it live, push it into wherever it needs to be. So it's lazy. It's laziness. Like it's a feeling. Like you go, oh man, it feels good. I like it's got code. It's created code for me. Nice. Push it up. That's vibe coding, and I love them because they give me work. Number of times that we've had someone who's like, oh, I made this with an AI service and it's not very good. Like you see, there's so many. There's so many. I see the ads for them all the time, like 11 Labs, and there's a couple of others. 11 Labs is one I see the most. And you can build, you build your application through it, and then you get to the point where for some reason the prompts aren't coming together. You're trying to add something on and it's just not working. You're having to go back to a previous revision and then you try again and it's just not coming back. There are limitations to these services, and you need a developer's skill to understand what you're doing and what you're making. I look at the security side from these vibe coders. Like, what security is backing your application? Like, before you put it up onto Google Play Store or something like that, do you understand? Like, are you taking credit card information? Are you taking payments? Like, are you meeting the base level requirements of security in order to take payments in Australia? Or if heaven forbid you do it in the EU, where their laws are extremely strict on it. Yeah, so vibe coding is just, it's a feeling, man. It's you feel it's good and you just push it up. You're not actually testing it.
On the other side of the coin as well, with bringing up some pros for vibe coding, or not vibe coding, sorry, prompt engineering. If it's done by a professional, personally, I've been I often find people who approach me and don't have much of a budget, and I have to say no because it's, you know, I'm building these custom websites with a custom headless CMS, and but with the abilities that prompt engineering is bringing about, I'm finding that maybe I would be open to taking on these clients, and rather than building something custom, like I can pretty much just prompt engineer a static website very, very quickly which then equates to being quite cheap as well, and not well, it's not cheap. It's got value, but it doesn't take much time to essentially to build it. It's great. It's a good quality still, but I'm not integrating a custom headless CMS or anything like that. It's just a static website.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, did you have something to say?
No, I was just saying we're doing the exact same thing for prototyping.
Yep.
We've just launched a prototyping service. We're keeping it cheap because we're utilizing AI, prompt engineering, to build up prototypes. And then it gives us a point to start the major project. Like, we've invested the time to go, this is how it's going to look. This is how it's going to feel. You can, if it's an app, we can literally download it onto their phone. They can touch and play it and everything. We have the code. We can fix things that the AI can't figure out. And it's become a way cheaper service, and we can offer it at a cheap price, and it gets people into the software development market who wouldn't normally be in there.
Absolutely.
That kind of circles back to your pro about it. It kind of levels the playing field.
Exactly.
But I think probably like the takeaway from that is vibe coding good for maybe prototyping, not so good for the entire flow from start to finish, publish. And like, I know of some examples that you hear, on the news and stuff, where people have hard coded like API keys, for example, OpenAI key, and all of a sudden they've got like a $300,000 bill, and they have no idea why, and it's because they've hard coded their private keys. So yeah, for those that
just on that topic as well, if we want to loop back to the security discussion as well, you guys heard about OpenClaw and how they there was a security leak and all of the secret keys for OpenAI were exposed.
Yeah.
Was it like, was that the one? Was it like 1.5 million or something? Was that the figure? 1.5 million keys?
Something like that, yeah. I mean, what a disaster. So don't trust AI to do everything for you.
Hey man, it's not a disaster for the guy that created OpenClaw. He sold the company. He's like, hands off, done and dusted.
Yeah.
I've made billions of dollars.
But that,
I think that at least for now, there's so much talk about AI replacing everyone and everything, but at least for now, and when I say for now, my personal opinion is like 5-10 years at least, you need the man in the middle. So when it comes to something like vibe coding, you can prototype, you can chuck it into anything from ChatGPT, Grok, Copilot, through to one of those actual specific apps used for app development, but do it from a prototyping point of view, and then take it to an actual, if it's an app, take it to an app developer. If it's for a website, take it to a web developer, and get that man in the middle to check for the vulnerabilities and everything like that, because cybersecurity is still a real thing, right? And malicious actors out there probably more than ever, and because of AI is easier for them as well, right? So they're using AI to help them as well. So
yep, that's right. Well, it's a great tool. It can also be a really great weapon too.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, any final words on AI integration in a business before we wrap this thing up?
Keep vibe coding. Just keep doing it. Keep bringing me work. That I love it. Thank you.
Don't be afraid of AI, but exercise extreme caution.
Nice. Well, Eamon, thank you for joining us. I didn't think we'd have a guest appearance by episode 3, but look at you, James. You're bringing the goods.
Stories. I think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah,
going up
that's
as well.
So
that's it.
Who knows what episode 4 is going to bring? I'm excited. So
you've got Elon Musk booked for next week, right?
Don't ruin it yet.
It's Elon. No.
Thanks, gents. Thanks for doing episode 3, and thank you to whoever's watching. And if you got this far, thanks for watching the whole thing. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you all.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
guys. See ya.